Hi, everyone, and welcome to this CPE webcast. What CPA firms are really struggling with in 2025. Insights from the field. CPA firms across the country know they need to modernize, but what are the real blockers standing in their way? In this CPE panel, we'll unpack firsthand insights from the field. This 50-minute CPE session is brought to you by CPA Practice Advisor and Iris Software Group. You can find them at irisglobal.com. Iris makes several technology solutions for tax and accounting professionals, including solutions for accounting, payroll, human resources, and firm management. I'm Isaac O'Bannon, Managing Editor of CPA Practice Advisor, and I'll be your moderator today. I've worked with technology, CPAs, and tax professionals for more than 25 years. CPA Practice Advisor was founded in 1991 and provides digital, print, video, podcasts, and other resources for accounting and tax professionals. Before we get started, let me explain how you earn CPE credit on this webcast. The webcast will be about 50 minutes long and qualifies for 1 credit of CPE in the fields of accounting, firm management, or general CPE. If you want to claim CPE credit, you must stay with us for the entire 50 minutes. During the webcast, there will be 4 polling questions. In each poll, you need to record an answer. This is our verification that you are still watching the webcast. After the event, you'll be presented with a post-event survey evaluation form. Your CPE certificate will be sent to the email address you used to register. Today, I'm joined by Michael Horowitz, Lacey Lagby, Eva Mrazikova, Dino Forgione, Jennifer Moore, and Isabel Anderson. Michael is Executive Director of BDO Alliance USA. Lacey is a Principal Sales Development Executive at Iris Software Group. Eva is an AAT licensed accountant with 20 years of experience. Dino is partner at PSB Boisjoli, a Canadian firm based in Quebec, and Isabel is a VP of Operations for PSB Boisjoli. Jennifer is the head of advocacy for BI, a resource scheduling platform for professional firms. And now we're ready to begin. Michael, Eva?
Thank you, Isaac. I'm delighted to be here with all of you today, and we do have a packed agenda for this afternoon. We're going to talk about what CPA firms are really struggling in 2025, and we're not going to be talking about theoretical stuff. My panel of esteemed guests and experts are going to dive into the actual scenarios, and they're going to talk about their real experience. So what are we going to cover today? As I said, we're going to talk about challenges, and we're going to reflect on some insights that we have gathered from the recent AICPA Engage event. And then we're going to get peer perspectives from firm leaders in the industry, and also what would change mean for you and any practical ideas that you can actually take away. So Isaac kindly has done an introduction of my panel, but I don't think this is doing it a justice. So I would like our panelists now to tell us a little bit what are they actually doing within their business, within the firm, what are they responsible for, and then we can kick this off. So Isabel, let's start with you.
Yes, thank you so much, Eva. So I'm very pleased to be here with you. So I've been VP of Operations at PSB Boisjoli for 3 years now, but I do have 25 years of experience in the industry. And my main focus here is really to strengthen the back office activities to support our growth at PSB Boisjoli.
Amazing, thank you. Dino?
Let me unmute myself. Hi, everybody. Glad to be here today. I'm a partner in what we call Corporate Business Group, which I think in the US is known as CAS. The type of work that we do. We don't do any, in my group, we don't do any audits or any kind of assurance work. You know, it's all compilations and a lot of tax work. So it's a lot of small, you know, little mandates or jobs, but there's a huge volume of them. So there's all the, you know, everything that goes around handling all that kind of work. So I manage a group of about 60 people in the firm.
Amazing. Thank you, Dino. Michael, over to you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I have the privilege of leading the BDO Alliance USA. It's the largest association of independent accounting firms, around 250 of them, based in the US and all 50 states, and another 180 non-accounting firms, including BI and IRIS among them. The common theme amongst our Business Resource Network members is that they like to hang around accounting firms. So our CPA members range in size from about $1 million in revenues all the way up to $200 million in revenues.
Thank you, Michael. Very wide outreach. Jenny.
There we go. Yes, thank you, Eva. My name's Jenny Moore. What I get to do at BI is head of advocacy, where we get to elevate our customers' stories. So as accounting professional in the last 20 years, I get to be able to help our accounting peers learn from their peers. And it's exciting to work with PSB Beaujolais, IRIS, and BDO on this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. And what does BI do more specifically, Jenny?
Yes, absolutely. So within BI, what we are is a resource scheduling platform. What we assist with is many firms that were trusted by over 15,000 users globally. We help with assigning the right people in the right jobs at the right time, also leveraging an AI algorithm as well. A fun fact, we have been in business for over 11 years and have solved many problems for audit, tax, CAS, and we're a full firm solution.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Now, last but not least, Lacey.
Thanks so much, Eva. My name is Lacey Magby. I'm the Senior Pre-Technical Sales Executive here at IRIS Software. I've been able to work closely with CPA firms for about the past 14 years, helping them really modernize their operations and gain more visibility through scalable technology. So over the past decade, had the privilege of just partnering with firms of many different sizes, giving me a really deep understanding of those evolving challenges in the accounting profession. So I'm excited to be here today and share insights and strategies that can help all of you guys out there stay ahead in a really rapidly changing landscape.
Thank you, Lacey. And can you tell us shortly what solutions IRIS covers for these firms?
Yeah, so IRIS Software, we provide really a comprehensive suite of solutions designed specifically for accounting firms, from document management to full-scale firm management. So what really sets us apart is that we don't believe that it's a one-size-fits-all. Our platform is extremely robust, but very flexible, really allowing firms to tailor the technology to their unique workflows. So rather than forcing them to conform to what we do, we go out there and ask, what do you do? And let us show you how you could do that better. So whether you're looking to streamline operations or improve visibility at scale with confidence, IRIS is really built to grow with your firm, not just around it.
Thank you so much. And I think that really warrants the perfect partnership of IRIS and BI. And we will explore this further as we go on. But let's start reflecting on what we have found out when we spoke to many CPA firms during our recent AICPA conference, Engage. And we have asked them about challenges around kind of five areas, and it was kind of areas that covered admin and admin time and how much time they spend on admin tasks versus tasks that they can charge for, tax automation, document management, system complexity, and data capture time. The ones that really stood out for us were the admin time, where it's really strong. We have almost 80% of the firms that in some shape or form are still struggling with the admin time, and kind of planning and scheduling and administrating these tasks. It's eating a lot into this. So these firms, these CPAs are really looking at ways how to minimize the time, and we will hear from Dino and Isabel. How are they managing that, and how are they succeeding? System complexity was also another one where we are using mix of different systems that might not necessarily talk to each other, which is a challenge then in terms of getting the data out, getting the analytics out, and again that causes some friction. So those are kind of our findings, which now I'm going to ask, and I'm going to start with you, Michael. When you look at these surveys results and these challenges like admin time, resourcing, complexity, does this reflect what do you see in the market, what you see with your firms?
Yeah, great question. And unfortunately, the answer is yes. And these have been challenges for accounting firms for a really long time. As I think back, and I've got a very interesting perspective on the marketplace with so many members serving so many different types of clients. One thing is becoming abundantly clear, and that is that there is starting to be a chasm between firms that are making investments in their next generation of technology and solutions and those that are not. And, historically, accounting firms have been reluctant to make those investments. Today, they're table stakes, and they really can't survive without making them. And so we're starting to see maybe the winners and the losers, or the folks that are separating themselves from the marketplace. Thinking about the overall profession, we've never been stronger from a financial perspective. Accounting firms have never been making more money than they are making today, and the acknowledgement by the marketplace and with private equity coming into our space is reflective of that and the opportunities to grow. So these are challenges, but as the Engage survey reflected, there are some firms that are managing and mitigating those challenges better than others.
Yes, some of the firms definitely are doing it better than others. Isabel, from your point of view, do you agree? How does this resonate? Obviously, you can talk about your own firm and what you are doing, but also kind of what you hear from your peers.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Well, I think the way I see this and I see these results is that there's progress, right? So if you look at it in silos, people are actually getting a better grasp on how to resolve some of the challenges. What I see is it's the second layer, right? So how do you make sure that you are able to invest in next-gen technology without causing more administration time and related to that, right? So there's that second layer of integration that I find that is harder to manage maybe, and that poses some of extra challenges that we can't ignore.
Thank you. Before we move on to next question, Isaac and Lacey, cue over to you. We have a first poll question that we would like to ask our audience. So Lacey, over to you if you wouldn't mind reading out the question.
Yeah, so the first poll question today is, what is your firm's biggest source of operational friction right now? A is disconnected or outdated systems. Could it be inefficient workflows or too much rework? C is staff burnout or overcapacity. D, document chaos. E, poor visibility into project or team workload. And then none of those are ones that really reflect some of the operational friction you have right now, select other. We would also love to hear that in the chat. You want to put that in the chat or put it in as a question so we could look at that later. But please answer this poll question. You have to do this in order to get your CPE credit. So we'll give you just a few more seconds to answer that. Looks like staff burnout and overcapacity is definitely the winner so far, Eva, which I don't know if that's winning or not, but it's definitely the one coming in first.
Okay, let's wait. I'm not sure whether we can have the results put up on the screen, but while we're doing that, Isabel, I'm going to prime you to this kind of these pressure points.
Yes.
Which pressure points are the most holding firms back right now?
I think it's the change in the environment, right? So but the profession is becoming more and more complex. The pressure from the authorities is we see it more. The resource availability as well, right? So there is a decrease in people going into the CPA profession. So we need to make the most of our time. The transformation of the delivery model, but for me, all of that is also related to change management. So I think the biggest pain point is really to be able to manage change in a way that that people do embark on the journey or on the transformation journey, but it's really hard because we tend to underestimate change management, especially because of the pace we need to move or we need to transform. So the human aspect of it is typically left a little bit behind. So for me as VP of Operations, that's one of my main friction in trying to move things along.
Thank you, Isabel. And looking at the results, Michael, does this resonate with you? Kind of the top two is really staff burnout and inefficient workflows, too much rework. Can you see this? Is this resonating with what you see in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I was looking at the results, I was just thinking about all the emerging leaders in our respective firms and the younger folks that are, need to want to embrace technology and often want to lead in that exercise and making sure that firms provide those technology resources to them to enable them to be more efficient. It's very clear that the firms that are making these investments are going to be the attractors and the retainers of talent, and that folks that move from firms that are not making those investments to firms that are. And it's given the scarcity of capacity resources, making those kinds of investments are critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Jenny, on this, again, looking at the results and that workflow and staff burnout, would you see that in BI, firms who are adopting the BI, that this is probably underlying issue, that this is kind of kicking it off, making them think, okay, we need to do something about being more clever about how we plan our resources?
Yes, and actually it was similar with, we were speaking at the IRIS conference, Isabel and myself, and about this as well. It's a reoccurring theme with retention of staff as well, the staff burnout, keeping the staff happy, putting them on the right jobs that they want to work on for their career development is another one as well. And just avoiding the chaos of scheduling and rescheduling when things, have a hiccup.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, this is an interesting one, but I do see it a lot as well. And Dino, I'm going to kind of put this question for you to kick off, but often there is perception that maybe as a firm, we are much further ahead than we actually are. We are like super technical, using the tech all in the right way, where kind of then it's sometimes awakening really for them, where they actually not as further as far as they thought they would be. So where do you think the firms, they think they're more modern than they actually are? Which are the areas?
Well, I think you kind of alluded to that by saying just being more technical. We think that by throwing technology at a problem, we're there. We're finally moving ahead. We're finally achieving what we want to achieve. I mean, at the end of the day, accounting firms want to be more efficient. They want to be more profitable, and in order to do that, we figure we're going to throw technology. In the past, we used to throw admin staff, and that was one of the reasons why the administrative work or the administrative staff was very busy, but it wasn't really moving anything forward. Is just the staff were maybe more chargeable, but there's still a lot of time. So accounting firms started throwing technology at the problem, saying this is going to help, but we tend to just use technology to do our manual processes by using computers, where we need to now completely change the way we think, especially now with AI coming out and everything else. We got to change our mindset on how technology can help us. I think that's very important. We got to stop just taking the manual process and making it computerized. It's more than that. Using technology, and also using technology that talks to each other. We mentioned that before, how BI and IRIS talk together There's a lot of technology today that use APIs where, but again, you need a different skill set in the firm. You need people that can understand how to connect these APIs, so it requires a different, a different type of staff. It's no longer what we had before, where we just, as long as they know accounting, they need to know a little bit more than just accounting.
I think I completely agree with you, and I think it's that mindset. But also, that's what I always say to the firms. Just another piece of tech will not make you automatically efficient or more efficient.
Sure.
And I think the process, reviewing the process actually that the firm is using, and to my mind, if you're not changing the process while adopting something new piece of tech, it's like, what's the point, really? So then there are probably consequences of that. And Michael, this is what I want to ask you on that, following up from what Dino said. If the firms are not realizing that they're not being really true to themselves, that, okay, tech is quite separate, it's not talking to each other, we're not really as far as we thought we are. What are the real consequences of not addressing these issues, of not, for the CPA firms, not staying true to themselves, but maybe being a little bit naive there?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think firms are going to get left behind. Their ability to attract and retain talent, we talked about, more importantly, the ability to attract and retain their clients and provide them with the comprehensive suite of assurance, tax, and advisory services that our clients are expecting us to provide. If you're a firm that's mired in inefficiency, you're just simply not going to be able to provide that level of service. And your clients are going to find other opportunities to be served by firms that are.
Yeah, there is a choice. Lacey, is this what you see in the market? Is it painful for firms, for CPA firms to realize that? Or is there any specific light bulb moment for them when they realize this is actually not working? We need to do something different here.
Yeah, it's definitely what I'm seeing. And I feel like Michael hit on all the thoughts that I had as well. There are major consequences for not addressing these issues. The first one, staff burnout. He said it, you're going to be losing that great talent that you have. More so your clients feel it. So they expect fast and digital service. That's the world we live in today, right? And if you can't deliver that, they're going to go somewhere else. But I think more than anything, operationally, it's just a mess. When leadership can't get a clear view of really what's happening across the firm because data's living in all these different silos, just like Dino said, that things aren't connecting and integrating, that's not helpful. It's hard to make a plan. It's hard to grow. It's hard to stay competitive. And when they realize that we have solutions that can address all of those issues that they're having, then it does help them get on board. But it's definitely some big consequences for not addressing those issues.
They can be quite costly, right?
Definitely costly. Absolutely.
Of that. Yes. So next to Lacey and Isaac, we're going to ask our lovely audience another poll question.
So poll question number 2 is, which of the following best describes your firm's appetite for operational change? Are we actively looking to make improvements now? B is, we want to change, but we don't know where to start. C is, we've talked about it, but nothing's in motion. D is, we're mostly comfortable with how things are. Or are you not sure? So go ahead and answer those questions. Looks like quite a few of you have answered. So far, it looks like we're actively making improvements now, which that is great news. That is definitely 44%, one of the clear winners right now. And then it looks like we want to change, but we don't know where to start is coming in second. Oh, it's not anymore. But yeah, Eva, I'll take it back to you. Looks like most people have answered so far.
Now, reacting to this, so majority of our audience saying we're actively making improvements now. Isabel, in your experience, does this require continuous effort to have this continuous improvement? It's not like one project is done and it's over, right? How difficult or challenging or time consuming it is for the firm to always try to stay on top of that, to be still actively making improvements?
I think you need to keep in mind your end goal always, right? So it's about, for me, it's like a building block approach. So we at our firm, we've made the investment a few years ago, and we are now using Iris Star PM software, and this is like our central point, right? So we are building around that, and the idea is to be able to see how technology can come in and help us being better staff members, being better managers, being a better firm, right? So it's technology at the service of the firm and its people and its clients, and not the other way around. So I think if you keep that trail of thought in mind, it helps moving along the integration and making sure that it makes sense.
Thank you. What would you say to the firms, to firms who voted between we want to change but don't know where to start, or we've talked about it but nothing is in motion? Michael, what would you tell them? What would be your advice?
I would say hire Isabel. You need a really smart person in an operational role within your firm. And, you have the title of VP of Operations. We're seeing many more firms have chief operating officers, innovation leaders, folks that are really dedicated to making the firm efficient and leading the charge with respect to change. And if you think about it, you've got an older generation of partners typically that are maybe not forward rushing into the next gen of technology, but they need to protect the value of the firm and their client relationship so that they know their best interests are to go through this change, but they're not exactly comfortable with how to do it. And we're seeing some of those answers in our polling. And then you've got some mid-career and maybe younger professionals that haven't the experience of the older generation, but they recognize, and especially in Dino's, when you mentioned your CAS practice, most of that work is on a fixed fee basis, right? So you're getting paid a certain amount of money a month from your CAS clients, irrespective of how much time it's taking for you to do the job. So your inefficiency is just eroding your profitability. So I think you do need to attend to this and not assume that someone in the firm is going to be able to cobble this together on a part-time basis.
Yeah, and I think that's that part of that mindset shift change, right? Where somebody used to do this maybe as a side job or, when they had time, where now this is really strategic role within the business, right? So interesting to hear how PSB Bojoli dealt with this. So the first kind of question going to both of you, Isabel and Dino. So what prompted you, your firm, to reevaluate how the work gets done, how to get things done in a different way, in better, efficient way?
So, Dino, if you don't mind, I'll start.
Yeah.
Dino and I have obviously different perspective, but we have the same goal, right? So for me, from an operational and strategic standpoint, the two questions that were actually catalysts were actually realizing that our Excel spreadsheets had had a limited elasticity, especially when we doubled, we doubled the size in about 5 years of our firm. So there was so much we could do with Excel. And the other thing is really the availability of resources, and that goes to your talent. And Michael alluded to it earlier. Your talent retention strategy, right? So we need to take care of our talents. We need to manage our talents. We need to invest in our talents. So when I was talking about technology at the service of the firm, is how can we actually implement something that will help us plan ahead and understand our client commitments and deliver with exceptional client service, but also take care of our resources, right? So that was for me, that was the tipping point.
Do you know anything to add?
Yeah, I could add the complexity of the work has also increased. The volume of the work has increased, and all that put together, it made us need more, flexibility or elasticity, like Isabel just said, and we need to be able to maneuver so many more items or nuances, like in terms of staff retention. You want to look at what are they interested in doing, what should they be doing, what are their skill sets, where are their skills lacking, where do we need to train them, and all that put together is very difficult to do with the type of files that we have. It's not like we run a conveyor belt or a production system where everything is the same and everybody puts the bolt in the same spot. The work is very different, from one file to the other, one client to the other, managing files, managing clients, managing work, managing compliance with the government, and so on. Everything is constantly changing. And all that made us realize we got to do something. And now, we're talking Iris, we're talking BI, but there's also, a whole slew of other software and other innovations, I guess, or things that we decided to change. I've been at this firm for over 30 years. I have never seen this many balls in the air or projects being worked on at the same time. It's crazy, but it's something that I believe needs to be done. I don't think we'll ever end because things are just changing so drastically all the time. Even with with AI coming in, we don't know what it's going to be next week. Never mind, we don't know what it's going to be in 5 years. We don't know what AI is going to do next week. So we need to be there. We need to have the ability to turn on a dime. So we constantly have to keep reinventing ourselves.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's about that agility on a daily basis. The work is never done, right? It keeps going. It's very important to kind of for the CPA firms to have that visibility of what's going on and how they can drive more efficiencies and have that more visibility and control. But to our kind of the first poll question, and staff burnout was on the top of agenda there. How can firms consider driving this visibility and operational control without overwhelming the business and actually the people, the team members who are responsible for that? Michael, any thoughts on that?
It's a balancing act. And, as you were speaking, Dino, the word resilience came into my head. Like you need to be vigilant, you need to be resilient, you need to be willing to try some things and fail, which accounting firms typically are not very excited to do. At BDO, I think we announced a very large commitment to technology, and we're a global firm, so we can maybe make that kind of investment. But each one of the folks that are sitting on this call should be thinking about to what degree are they comfortable making an investment. It's an investment of time, it's an investment of dollars, it's an investment of resources, and you can learn from your peers that are making these investments. And Dino astutely said, we don't know what's going to happen next week with AI, so things are changing very quickly. It's a really exciting time, but it's equally challenging, and there's just tremendous opportunities for folks that can figure this thing out, and hopefully most of the people that tune into conversations like this are on that right side of the chasm in terms of their evolution.
Absolutely. Thank you. I don't know if you think, my esteemed guest, but I think when I'm listening to you, it's my kind of visualization of this is like bringing humanity a little bit into this technology, bringing back that human aspect and, appreciate the teams and make sure that that balance is much better with the help of technology. And as you said, nothing is really certain with the AI. Things can change quickly, but the people will stay in the business. So it's so important to make sure we're looking after them. Isabel, when you have started to look into okay, how are we going to do this operationally? We want to change things. What was your most significant early insight once you kind of get into the weeds of things and starting to look at resource planning in a different way?
I think, and if we go back to the beginning of this presentation, like ideally, we need to transform the way we work without adding any admin time, because we all have enough admin time, right? So our first criteria was really to be able to streamline that process, reduce the burden on our schedulers, because we have schedulers, and on our managers. We needed increased visibility. We needed to know what was waiting for us the next week, the week after, with more details. So definitely that was part of it. Going back to a comment I made earlier, how can it make us better? And how can it make us better as staff members, as a firm, as partners? And the integration between, and that's the reason we landed with BI, right? And we started working with them, is the integration between STAR and BI is great. So we're actually able to give the performance coaches, we call them performance coaches, like insights on the actual, on what the staff is supposed to do versus what they're actually doing. So it's real-time information to actually feed meaningful coaching conversations. So while we were implementing BI, those are the things that we were trying to leverage. Like we see that those little Easter eggs, right? Those little bonus points that we were able to look at and to humanize the process of scheduling, because it's not only scheduling jobs and it's not only servicing our clients, but it's also giving our staff the opportunity to thrive and to develop their career.
Thank you. Jenny, when you're listening to this, did BI realize what the impact actually it can have or will have on this culture or on this standard of way to do things?
Absolutely. That is our core objective, is to really help empower the accounting firms and the individuals that best support by putting the right people in the right places. And I completely understand, speaking at several events and hearing from the ground as well, adopting the change is tricky. And I would say the biggest advice, other than hiring Isabel, I don't think Dino would appreciate that, but to find that champion as well. And then with that, also look at applications that really help you with the integrations too.
Thank you. And Lacey, from your experience, because you're there in the battlefield, you're speaking to CPA firms every day. Do you see how much the CPA firms are realizing something needs to change here? We need to do something different. Is it clicking? Is it starting to be obvious?
I think it is starting to be obvious. And, I think more than anything that firms need to remember is, I think the best way I always like to put it is, don't try to go out there and boil the ocean. Start small. Try to figure out what is the thing that is causing the most friction within my firm and tackle that first. You don't have to do everything at one time. Tackle the biggest problems first, and you'll thank yourself later. Think too, really focusing on solutions that are working well with each other, like Iris and BI, how we work together that's going to help these firms drive visibility and control without just really overwhelming the team. They were already using Iris. BA came in and integrated something that they really needed to help with their day-to-day operations. And how can you do those things and get those quick wins without, having everyone in your firm very frustrated because you're wanting to make all these changes at once?
Yeah, not all at once. Thank you. Now, Dino, CAS model, that's kind of your area of expertise. So can you tell us, from your point of view, how is your CAS delivery model evolving because of these changes that we've been discussing?
Yeah. Well, as I kind of alluded to before, the complexity is just growing, the volume is growing. And what this allows us to do by using something like BI as opposed to using our old Excel models is it just gives us that flexibility of being able to hone in on we have this large amount of data that we can now use. Whereas before, if I want to see, is somebody working on what they're supposed to work? I have to go in Excel and I have to try and figure out where was that person slotted? Was the information removed because the person, is no longer there, or they weren't working on that file, so it becomes very difficult to assess. It also, and again, I mentioned it before, it's important for the staff to be able to do what they're supposed to be doing. We have evaluations twice a year with the staff, and one of the things we discuss is either it comes from the staff or it comes from us telling them, we want to develop you into this area, or we see a weakness in this area, we want to help you develop in this area. Or the staff member might even tell us, I want to work more on these types of files. So if they speak to their coach, or their manager, well, that person can only, it might be able to schedule them on something that'll reach that goal for them, but they're limited to the files that they have. Otherwise, they have to go see other managers and try, and it becomes very a cumbersome task. But if, it's much easier when we have a tool that has all that information, and we could say, hey, I want to see all of my real estate clients in the firm, not just all the real estate clients that this manager handles, so I want to see it throughout the firm. And this way it's much easier to, again, like I said before, turn on a dime. It's much easier. Somebody leaves, we can reallocate things much quicker. Somebody that is on a file that's taking longer than expected, we can easily move things around. Excel is not, again, Excel is taking a manual process and putting it into, and using technology to do the manual process. Whereas BI is going a step further of having all that metadata that you can easily use to reallocate and move things around. And with the connection to STAR, then we can see how much time have they worked on that file. Where's the, where did they post their time? Is the time, you have a lot more data points that you can use to manage your department, your firm, and the staff and the staff involvement as well in the firm.
Thank you. It sounds like I definitely would, if I would want to work somewhere, PSB Bojoli would be probably the firm I would want to land, because it sounds amazing.
That's why we're keeping Isabel.
Okay, don't let Isabel go. Yes, absolutely. Michael, from what you hear Dino saying, and I absolutely love the approach that PSB Bojoli has on this. Can you see, is this more recurrent theme of a mindset that is appearing with these CPAs firms? Can you see a change?
Yeah, of course. And I think the allusion to connecting technology solutions and looking for efficiencies, not just within a standalone solution, but with a package of solutions makes sense. I think Lacey identified, hey, don't try to boil the ocean, start with something that is your biggest pain point. And it's like a whack-a-mole. When you whack that pain point down, something else pops up, and then you go and you try to solve that next problem. All firms have these, irrespective of their size and who their clients are. And so just focusing on what is most challenging for you, and maybe looking for some quick wins and low-hanging fruit in terms of these problems, it will start to build some confidence in your ability to tackle these challenges. And all of a sudden, you're excited about the next challenge, as opposed to feeling like I'm worried about our ability to solve this challenge.
Yeah, thank you. Now, probably time for reflection here. So, Isabel, Dino, this one is for you. On your journey, because it definitely is a journey, what have you learned not to do, and what would you advise other CPA firms not to do? Don't know who wants to kick it off, Isabel or Dino, but I'll let you choose.
Go ahead, Isabel.
Oh, thank you. I think I'm gonna I know that Dino will comment on one thing. What I wanted to comment on is don't patch up, right? What we tend to do is we try to fix really quickly to be able to move on quicker. Take the time to stop and reflect, and what I try to apply when we roll out here at the firm, like a new technology or any type of change or any type of new way of working, is the zooming in and zooming out approach. So don't just patch to move on like it's an annoyance, right? Zoom out, look at the big picture, look where the pain point comes from, take the time to analyze and zoom back in to actually fix the problem for good, because that way you'll be able to move along and it's going to be sustainable. So just don't patch it because it's annoying and you want to move on. Think if it needs more reflection, a little bit more time.
No plasters approach. Don't be putting plasters.
No good, because eventually they all fall off.
Absolutely. Dino?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it several times that, keep your, don't look at the process, review the whole process. Don't just take a process that's manual and port it into a technology. Just, but the one thing I would say is just keep an open mind. Everybody should just keep an open mind, look at the best practices, have the consultants that you're hiring to help you with the transition, listen to them and have them give you the best practices and they have experience with everything else. We all know our firms and what we want to do. I know, because I'm an older accountant, so obviously I know how my peers are. We just don't want to change. We want to keep the same thing going forward, and we just don't want to change anything. And having to change our process is like, it's one of the most difficult things you can ask an accountant to do. But I always tell people, keep an open mind and listen to the what the consultants are telling you that is the best practice, or how you should change your process to make it work, to be able to take advantage of what the technology is offering. Because otherwise, all you're doing is you're using that very small area of the technology that's like using Excel, for your scheduling. So just that's what I would say as what not to do is have a closed mind. I know that your question was what not to do. Yeah. Keeping your mind closed. Open up your mind.
Makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, so we've talked a lot and discussed lots of insights. So thank you so much for sharing your real experience and staying true to yourselves. But if we have some of the firms sitting on the other side of the screen and thinking, okay, this is all great, this is lovely, but what is the one action that firms should take in the next 30 days, like one actionable step they can take away and say, okay, right, I know this is the first thing I need to do. Jenny, what would it be?
Say host, almost like we would call it a hackathon in technology, but host a session with your team and really feel and understand what all of those pain points are. Then take the next steps to ensure there's the technology and that technology integrates with the different platforms that you use. So host the meeting, host a safe place for everyone to be able to talk.
Yeah, so we call it therapy sessions, almost like for the team. It's a real therapy session when the team comes together and, as you said, it's a safe environment and very open discussion. Absolutely agree. That always works. Lacey, what would you say?
Yeah, I will say, first of all, Jenny's right on the money, because change management is the first thing that you have to do to change anything in your firm, whether that's technology or whatever. You need to get buy-in from your users. If you don't have that, you're not going anywhere. But I would say the next step to that is to start identifying where is that friction, make a commitment as a team to, in the next 30 days, trying to improve one process. That doesn't mean that you need to find a solution and implement it in 30 days. You need to identify a problem and take the next steps to start figuring out a resolution of how you can do things better. And then, that extends to a 60-day goal and a 90-day goal. But those would be specifically one of the biggest goals that I would say is start small, build momentum. You don't have to fix everything at once, but you have to start. And that's how leading firms are moving forward, very strategically and not reactively.
Thank you. Perfect. So what I would add to this, if you're still not sure where to start, and we have now shortish window before the next busy season kicks in for us. You can take this 5 minutes operational maturity quiz, and it can help you identify the friction points. You'll get a report at the end of this that you can, discuss with your team. Maybe it can be as an opening to your therapy session or discussion with the team. So definitely, if you would like to scan this and just go through the questions, answer them truthfully, and that can be the first step that will prompt some changes really for your firm. Now, Isaac, Lacey, hands up. The third poll question's coming up. So Lacey, over to you.
Third poll question is, how confident are you that your current workflow supports long-term firm growth? A, very confident. B is somewhat confident. C is not confident. Or D is you're not sure. So how confident are you that your current workflows support long-term firm growth? Remember, you need to answer 3 out of the 4 questions that we'll have today in order to get your CPE credits. We have some answers flowing in. So 54% right now is somewhat confident, which is... That's good. I mean, somewhat is better than not. So that's good.
We always say to this, you don't know what you don't know. So probably be truthful to yourself. What does this mean? It's kind of like sitting on the fence on that. Not confident, 20%. Interesting. Maybe time to look into things. We'll leave it for a few more seconds, and then we are going to ask the last poll question of our audience. So, Lacey, I'm going to give you a cue on that. So, considering what we've been talking about, Lacey, over to you.
Yeah, so the very last poll question we have today is, are you interested in learning more about BI, Iris, both of us, or none of us? We would love to connect with you if you're interested in our solutions. So let us know if you want us to reach out.
Thank you. And while the audience is voting, Michael, I'd like you to tell us, what do you think that if it's one action for the next 30 days, what would it be?
And Isabella's off the table, huh?
Okay.
So I got
Completely off the table.
So, I like the discussion about going internal and having a strategy session. I'd like to suggest that folks maybe talk to other accounting firms that they're familiar with in their market, that they're friendly with, in their state societies or in their respective CPA associations, and learn from them. Because in some instances, maybe you can learn from some of their mistakes, right? And we've all made them. And in other instances, they may be able to provide you with some guidance as to how they tackle the same challenge that you're facing.
Thank you. Isabel, do you know any last parting words of wisdom? Well, can we clone Isabel? Maybe. That's my question.
No, my children wouldn't be happy about that. But I would just volunteer, be humble. You don't know everything. So walk into all of these great ideas and have those discussions and ask questions, and don't try to find the answer before. And I think it's just that change of mindset. I think the next 30 days, it's being able to change your mindset and to be able to be a bit more resilient with change that is coming at you.
Yeah, and don't worry if you don't fix everything right away. It's just baby steps, but just get something moving, because that'll kind of light the fire, and you start seeing, hey, look at the improvements we've made with just such a small change. Let's go with something else, and then you'll become like us and have 55 balls up in the air at the same time.
Juggling pretty well. So thank you so much. I don't know where the 55 minutes have gone, but I had absolute amazing time. So thank you, Michael, Dino, Isabel, Jenny, and Lacey. You've been amazing panel. And thank you so much for your insights. Our lovely audience, thank you very much for staying with us, and thank you for contributing as well to our poll questions. We do hope that you have found the session useful, interesting, maybe even if it sparks some thoughts. That's all it needs to do at this stage. We hope to see you again soon, and I'm going to hand over to Isaac to close us up. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva, and thank you to everyone on the panel for an informative discussion. Especially thank you to Iris Software for sponsoring this topic for CPE credit. As a reminder to the attendees, you'll receive your CPE certificate in your email later, probably this afternoon. Should you have any questions about CPE, you can contact me or our staff at editors@cpapracticeadvisor.com. If you had any questions that were not answered during the presentation, they will be followed up on by email. After this event, you'll be presented with a post-event survey. It's optional, but we really hope you'll share your feedback with us. You can also find additional upcoming webinars under our resources tab at our website. And if you need additional CPE credit before the end of the year, please visit ensuringsuccess.com for our 2-day online event where you can earn up to 14 hours of CPE. Once again, thanks to Iris Software and everyone on today's webcast, and our event will end now.